Hey guys, it's Elise. So I'm so sorry that today or yesterday, whenever I upload this video, I did not upload my bloopers to Signs You Know You're a Dedicated Mixer. I was stupid and I was cleaning up my laptop while I was uploading the video, and I put the video in trash and emptied it, and of course you can't upload a video if you don't have the file. So the file cancelled, and yeah. So to make up for that, I tweeted out to you guys and I said that I would make a story time on some funny things that happened to me at school, whether it was when I got in trouble or, you know, a time, you know, it was just a memorable time. So I'm going to tell you 3 stories in one, and I'm going to leave my biggest one, which is probably the title of the video, for last. So if you want to just see that part of the story, then I'll just leave a timestamp in the description below. And I'm just going to start with some funny, memorable stories that happened to me in primary school, and then I'll get into the big one that happened in high school. So the first one is just going to be one very first time I can remember getting in trouble. It was, I think, when I was in year 2, when I had a teacher. He was a male teacher. I'm going to give him a name, Mr. Purple, okay? So Mr. Purple was a teacher that I really liked, and he was very funny. He had the same birthday as my brother. And I was never very smart ever in any subject, like English, maths, just count me out. But like if it was like a practical subject, like a music, or like even an art, like I can't draw but I can do makeup. Anyway, beside the point. So it was a day where I was sitting next to my friend. Let's give this friend a name, Julie. So I was sitting next to Julie and we were doing maths, and we had like these workbooks. I think they were called like Maths Plus or something like that, and I was just doing it with her because I can't do maths. I never was good at maths, even in, when did I drop maths? I was sitting next to her and I was in year 2, so I was young, and I can't understand maths. It was like division or multiplication, whatever you do in primary school. Anyway, I couldn't do it. Let's get to the point, at least. I could not do it. So I was like, oi, Julie, help me with this. And she's like, yeah, just copy my work. And I was like, fuck it, I don't do anything, just write her answers down. So I'm just sitting there and I'm writing my answers down, and Mr. Purple looks up at me and goes, Elise, and he's like screaming. Right, I'm not going to scream because my brother's asleep next door and I don't want to scream my channel. So screams, and he's like, Elise, and grabs my maths workbook textbook thing and just chucks it across the room. And at this point, I was really weak, and anytime anyone would raise their voice, I would just bawl. So I started bawling my eyes out, and he goes, that's it, you have to do your work at detention. And I was like, oh my god, detention, I'm gonna get my parents are gonna get called. I'm like in year 2, I'm dying, and like full like, so he's thrown the book across the room. I'm bawling my eyes out. He's like, you'll have to do your work at detention, and going on and on and stuff, and we're just like, whoa, because I'd never seen him get like that before, and I was like, oh my god, me? Like, I thought he really liked me, and obviously he didn't. But yes, so he threw my book over, and I just kind of sat the rest of the period where we did maths, because in primary school you don't really move classes to do different subjects like in high school. Anyway, so I'm just sitting there and I'm just watching everyone. Everyone's kind of like staring at me like, oh, you got in trouble, ooh. And I'm pretty sure everyone was like, talking about me to everyone. But anyway, so they went out to lunch and detention was at lunch, so I had to pick up my workbook and take it. By the way, my teacher had rubbed out all the answers because I wrote in pencil in the primary school. So I took my book to detention, and I met the teacher there I loved this teacher so much, and she left like halfway through my schooling year in primary school. Let's give her a name. Her name's gonna be, let's just call her Mrs. Smith. I never had a teacher called Mrs. Smith, so there we go. So Mrs. Smith. So she came over and she was like, Elise, darling, what are you doing here? She patted me on the back, and I'm still crying at this point. And I'm like, oh, I copied someone's work at class and I'm bawling. And she's like, oh honey, what's wrong? And so we started doing the problems together. Of course they were just like simple things to her, but she looked at me and she was like, why aren't you understanding this? Anyway, so I started doing the work, and she starts explaining it to me like, what's this plus this, or times that, take away that, and I'm answering the questions, but I can just see the answers written, like, because where you rub out, you know, pencil, you can still see it. And I was like, that answer's 3, and I started saying like, the answer's 3, and she's like, really good, I didn't even explain the whole thing, great. So I wrote 3 down and then kept going, everything, because I had done most of it when I copied her work before I got caught. So yeah, that was the very first time I remember getting caught. Okay, so now my brother's gone into the shower, really good. Let's move on to the next one. This one I'm going to talk about is the time, didn't really involve me, but it's time that like scarred me for life. So a few of my friends may know this story because I may have told it before. Kind of gross. Time when, disgusting. Anyway, the time where a boy in my class spewed all over the floor. So, I was in year 1 and my teacher was really nice, and I still know my teacher to this day because she's friends with my mum. Let's give this teacher a name. Let's give her a name of Mrs. Sarah. Okay, so Mrs. Sarah was there and she was like, okay guys, do your, I can't remember what we were doing. I think it was like an art thing because I was really into it. And we're all sitting and we sat in like a U shape. So we had tables in the middle and then tables around, if that makes sense. If I can find a picture of how we sat, I'll do it. I'll put it here. But it was like, you know, like a U shape and a U in the middle of tables. And then in the front was where we sat to learn about what we were going to do before we went and did it, if that makes any sense. So we were sitting there and we were doing our stuff. And then all of a sudden I see the boy. A boy's name is going to be Bob. Bob got up and he kind of like walked slowly over, and I'm that person who's like, when you get like someone gets up or someone comes to the door of the classroom, I'm like, and I'm watching everything. So everyone was doing their work and all of a sudden someone rose. So of course I was like, what the hell? And all of a sudden I hear him say, Miss, I don't feel very well. And I'm petrified. One of my biggest fears is vomit. Whether it's me going to do that or someone else or someone, even if someone says I don't feel well and it's just a cold, I'm just like, whoa. So here we go. So he gets up and says I don't feel well, and at this point I'm like, alright, so I'm this close to the sink, I'm this close to the door, how do I get out? So I'm just kind of sitting there and I'm like just trying to do my work and concentrate. Next minute all I see is Bob just run across the room straight at me. And then my teacher's going to the sink, and I'm sitting in front of the sink because there's sinks in my class. And like I was behind, so I was here, sinks are here. So I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna come near me. Oh my god, he's coming near me. And he didn't make it. He just spewed all over the floor where we normally sit to learn about stuff. All over the floor. And I just remember him running over and it was just coming out his fingers, up the top, up to his nose, everywhere. It was disgusting. And one of my friends still to this day, Christine, sorry Christine, sorry I'm ratting you out. But she was spewed all down the back, I remember, because she was right near it, and it was just all over her. And I just remember being like, thank god that wasn't me. And it was all over a uniform, and I was just like, oh my god. And then he spewed once, and then he went outside and spewed again. And I just remember being like, oh my god, I'm scarred for life, like actually scarred for life. So yeah, that's just one that I remember being really traumatic for me. And I remember like where he did puke, I remember like no one sat there for like the whole rest of the year. So there was like a big patch of like, when we would sit around in groups, it would be like people here, people on the sides, no one in the middle. So yeah, anyway, that one's kind of boring, but yeah, moving on to the big story. Okay, so this is the time where I got in so much trouble at high school. So I was in year 7, so fresh out of primary school, straight into year 7. So, wow. Okay, so I was in year 7 and there was this thing with this other girl that, I don't know, for a long time we didn't like each other, but it was kind of like a game. Like, it wasn't really like bullying, it was like just a little game we did, I don't know, but we hey, and there's like kind of slap and whatever. It's kind of wrong, never do that, please don't ever do that, but I did that anyway. So it was this thing with this other girl. Let's leave this girl a name. Her name is going to be Jane, okay? Jane. And we kicked each other and hit each other all the time. Never do this, ever, 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 right? Never do this. And it was this thing where every day it would always happen, right? She did to me, I did to her, it was great. Great times. Not really, never do it. So there's this one day where we were going to religion class. So we walked to religion class and we were early to class. It was me, Jane, another girl, a girl we have to give a name right now. Her name's going to be Caitlin. Her name's going to be Caitlin, okay? So Jane, me, Caitlin, we'll get to Caitlin, don't worry. And then just some other girls and bystanders, okay? Bystanders mean people in my class, but I can't bother to give them all names. Me and Jane were like kind of like running around the classroom, and I was trying to get her because I hadn't got her that day. I was like, gonna get her, whatever, right? So I didn't ever get her, right? So I was like, what am I gonna do to get her? So I grabbed someone's pencil case and I logged it across the room to where she was. But she saw it coming, she ducked, and poor Caitlin was just kind of like standing there, and the pencil case just came straight at her head, and cut her eye. And everybody like, a pencil case? What the hell was in the pencil case to make a cut? The pencil case as itself, let's pretend that this is the pencil case. So the pencil case was packed to the brim, like you couldn't fit anything else in it. And in the bottom there was like this little hole where the scissors were poking out. Just the teeniest bit. Like I couldn't see it when I picked it up, but obviously I wasn't looking for like, you know, injuries. So when I lobbed the pencil case, the scissor side, this is so bad, the scissor side was thrown at her head. So it cut her, I don't know what eye, probably this eye, straight from the eyebrow down, almost touching her. And this girl was Asian, like she's Asian, so obviously she has no like room, like, you know what I mean? Like she has those, you know, Asian eyes, beautiful Asian eyes, right? So her eyebrow had leaned into her eye and it was cut. And at this stage I didn't know because she was hit and it was kind of like she went into like whoa and just left the room. And at this point I was like, oh my god, Caitlin, oh my god, Caitlin, oh my god, Caitlin, oh my god, God. So then in the end my teacher came and she didn't know what was going on. She just thought she went to the bathroom, whatever. Next minute, a knock on the door. It was the person who went with Caitlin to the office to go get it fixed up, and I didn't know she went to the office. And they're like, Elise, I can't believe I'm saying this. They were like, Elise, you need to go to the office. And I was, at this point, I'd never been to the office in my like high school for like, you know, to be in the sick bay or to hand in a note. I'd never really set foot in there. So I was like, okay. So I got up and I went to the office and there I saw her and her eye was like messed up, and she was with, I can't remember if she was with an office staff or if she was with the assistant principal, but we'll get to the assistant principal in a minute. But she was there and I remember seeing, I was like, oh my god, I'm in so much trouble. So I went to the office staff and I was like, hi, I'm Elise, I was told to come to the office. And they're like, oh, Elise, we know you. And I was like, oh my god, fresh year 7, getting in trouble, people already know who I am, what the hell. So I get called into the office and my assistant principal at the time was there. She's not, I don't think she's no longer at the school anymore, but I'm still going to give her a fake name. Her name is Miss Wellington. So her name is Miss Wellington. And she's like a, I'm not going to say like a huge lady, but she's not on the slim side. And everyone was really scared of her and she was really strict on rules. Anyway, so she was like, Elise, come and sit with me. And she's like walked over like this. And she's like, sit down, and we're now in our office. And she's like, so, you did what to Caitlin to cut her eye open? Like, how did that happen? What was happening? So I went through the entire story as I remembered it. And she, at the first point, she's like, whoa, wait, stop. You threw a pencil case because you wanted to hit another girl. Like, you deliberately threw it to hit somebody. And I was like, yes. And then I broke down into tears because at this point, I'm still not building up my courage to be, you know, very vocal and loud, because I haven't that's a word, haven't taken drama yet. I took drama in year 9 to 12, so I hadn't built up my confidence yet, and everything and that I would get in trouble too, I would just cry. But of course, if you're in front of the massive woman who's crying, who's scary, and you're crying, like, come on, it makes sense. Anyway, so she's like, you deliberately threw a pencil case to hit someone. I was like, yes, crying. And she's like, why? And I was like, because, and then she was like, wait, that's bullying, Elise. And I'm like, no, it's not bullying. Like, we weren't, you know, deliberately, you know, like, I didn't hate her and she didn't hate me. It was just kind of like a friendly, like, slap, you know what I mean? I don't know, it sounds weird to say, and you had to, like, kind of see it to, you know what I mean? But we didn't hate each other. There was no hatred towards each other. Anyway. Moving on. So at this point I was really concerned for Caitlin, and I was just kind of like, what's going on with her? Is she okay? Can I see her or anything like that? And she's like, no, we need to get to the bottom of this story, Elise. So you deliberately threw a pencil case at a girl and it's now cut her eye open. Do you know what can happen if you cut someone's eye open? They can go blind. She has Asian eyes, Elise. That means that her eye, you don't have much lid space. So there's like literally it's her eyebrow and her eye. It is cut open, Elise. Like, literally, like, that's what she was talking. Like, I'm bawling. I put the tissues, I'm like, right? So then my best friend at the time, she's no longer my best friend. We haven't talked in years. She picked me up at the office. She happened to be there. I don't know why. Probably, you know, best friend duties at the time. You know, you gotta help your friend. And she came up to the office and she saw me and I came out of the office. I'm out of the office. I'm out of it, you know. And all I can think of at the time when I was sitting in my assistant principal's office is that day I had enough money to buy an iPod Touch, and I was like, if they call my mum, I'm not going to be able to go and get an iPod Touch. Like, even though I'm paying for it, I'm not going to be able to go. Like, that's on my mindset. So at this point, I'm like, I'm not going to get my iPod Touch. Like, I had enough money and everything. Anyway, back to the story. So my best friend at the time picked me up from the office because, you know, whatever. And I go back down to my classroom. And, you know, I'd stopped crying by then, and then I saw my teacher in religion, and she had known because someone had come down, like, I don't know if I can't remember if they phoned her, but she knew exactly what happened, and she saw me and she went outside, and I went, oh shit, now she's gonna talk to me about it. So I sat on the floor outside, and I carried everything in one of those tote bags, like literally my entire locker, like we have lockers, literally everything in that locker was in my bag, and I carried that thing everywhere. Like, everything was in there. Like, even if I only had religion, maths, and PE that day, which we never had 3 subjects a day, but just for instance, I would carry every single one of my subjects in that bag, like, just in case. Don't know why. Don't know why I did it. I stopped doing that in, like, late year 12. Like, I still did it every single day. Anyway, I think it's just laziness because I didn't really go on my locker. Anyway, so I'm sitting on the floor, and I started to see my teacher, and we're bawling my eyes out, and she's like, Elise, why did you log a pencil case at somebody? And I'm like, it's a long story and I shouldn't have done it, but I did it, and I'm like crying my eyes out. And I was like, all I want to do is see Caitlin. Like, can I see Caitlin? I want to see if she's okay. And so I go back up to the office, and there she is in this little, like, bathroom next to the sick bay. And she's now, I think she had tape on her eye or something like that. And I was just remember seeing her, and I was like, I can't say anything to her. I literally cannot say anything to her. I can't get words out because I'm so sorry. Like, I never meant to hit her. It was supposed to happen to another girl. But it never, like, happened. She ducked and got her. Anyway, so I didn't end up saying sorry to her face to face. Like, I remember saying sorry to her via Facebook. Like, if I can track down the messages, I will, but it's, like, way long ago, and obviously I'm still friends with her. She probably sees this video, Caitlin, but her name's nothing like Caitlin. Yeah, she watches my channel, so if she wants to leave a comment down below telling her that was her, go for it. But yes, so I got a Facebook messenger, like, literally, because she left obviously early. She had to go to get stitches. I don't know what had to happen, but I remember messages like, oh my, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, blah blah blah. And I remember she was like, it's okay, I'm all fine. Like, she didn't, like, hold a grudge against me, which I'm really thankful for, because obviously I'm still friends with her now. Like, come on. But it was really strange, and not many people know this story, because I don't think many people knew. Like, I knew the teacher knew, and I know my principal, Miss Wellington, my assistant principal, Miss Wellington, was like, you knew, and then obviously I knew, my best friend at the time knew, Caitlin obviously knew, and Jane, the original victim, was obviously knew as well. So that didn't really get spread around, and I'm kind of thankful for that, because imagine if that got around the school. But, like, I was never a bully, and that was not my intention to hurt somebody. Anyway, so I can't believe I did that. So Caitlin, if you are watching this, which you probably are because you mostly watch most of my videos, write down below that I hit you in the head, and if you want to come out and say that. If you don't, stay closed as Caitlin. So yeah, I can't believe, like, I was thinking about this yesterday in the shower, and I was just kind of like, I actually injured somebody. Don't ever pick up a pencil case and throw it at somebody. Don't throw anything. Never throw anything. So yeah. I'm just gonna leave it on that. So hope you enjoyed this little, like, 4 or 5 part story time of things that happened to me at school, whether it was at primary school or high school. If you want to see more story times, give this video a thumbs up, and if you want them to be about the first time I met Little Mix, like, I've made one in the past, but it was before I could really, like, run down everything. But if you want to see it now, I'll leave a link down below if it's still up in private, if not on private. I don't think it is. I don't know any other story times I can really do, but if I come across one and I want to make a video on it, I sure as hell will. So I'm so sorry that we didn't get bloopers for my Science You're a Dedicated Mixer video, but hopefully this made you laugh. And yeah, if you want to see, like, topics of, like, you know, funny stories that happened to me blank, or times I got in trouble where, or stuff like that, let me know in the comments below, or even reaction video requests down below. Please let me know. Oh, that rhymed. So yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're new here and this is the first time you've ever seen my channel and my face, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new, and turn my post notifications on if they are not on already, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Snapchat, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!
I just wanna be part of your